Thank you for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. So I read an interesting survey about people who consider themselves green consumers and what's the real motivation in reducing their energy bills. 75% of the correspondents answered that they are interested in reducing energy bills to reduce the economic value of it. And only 25 responded they want to lessen their effect on the environment. So it makes us think, what is the real motive behind shifting to a green economy? So I'll be talking today about the sustainability from a stakeholder perspective. So my name is Feras. I lived in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia and graduated and went to Amman, where I studied and graduated with a power and energy degree. And after that, I started Senergy. So Senergy is my initiative. It's the first youth-led, sustainability-driven organization in Jordan that was targeting the education of the Jordanian people about topics in energy and renewable energy and energy efficiency. So my team composed of 8 members, and we were officially registered as an NGO in 2014. So this is Senergy. We had 2 main programs, one that involved the youth and the other involved the schools, students from the 7th to the 9th grade, where we educated them about energy efficiency and how to reduce energy bills in their homes. The first channel was social media, where we posted about ways to reduce your energy bills. And we students in schools. Is this working? Cool. No, it's not. So we created a curriculum that incentivizes people to go out in schools and actually help students reduce energy bills and educate them. And the final one was advocacy, where we worked with youth and people who are interested in those domains. After a year of success, we hit a wall. And I considered ourselves that we failed to some extent. The reason is that we failed is that we didn't actually ask our audience what they really need, what they currently understand, their status quo, and we didn't cope up with that. The other thing is that in university, they teach us to be successful, and they don't teach us how important it is to fail. So when we failed once and twice, we didn't convince ourselves that we're failing until we actually hit a wall. So then I decided to continue and try to understand what is sustainability. I wanted to define this for myself. So I joined a management consulting company and was an ESG advisor. So ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance, which are the main components in an organization that is driving sustainability. So I helped companies with their sustainability strategy, and then I assessed several companies on their performance. So I realized that sustainability has 3 major things. First of all, it's driven by the stakeholders, and then there's a strong business case in sustainability that I will shortly talk about. And finally, is that businesses can take the lead into developing an economy to a green economy. I'll also go to that shortly. So what is sustainability? So sustainability was defined by the Bertland Commission to the United Nations as the ability to meet current needs without compromising the needs of the future generations. But I'm a fan of another definition of sustainability, a term coined by John Elkington, who founded the British consultancy Sustainability, who defines sustainability as the 3 bottom lines. So the bottom lines are the environment, social, and the economy. He defined it as 3 Ps: people, planet, and profit. So sustainability and its effect in business. So the business case of sustainability. The graphs you see above, the first one is a graph that shows the difference between companies who have implemented an ESG performance, which is an environmental social governance performance criteria in their business, and the other one shows the Dow Jones Sustainability Index versus the Dow Jones Industrial Index. So in the first one, you can see that companies who implemented sustainability in red are performing better than the ones who didn't. We'll soon understand why, but generally, these companies look to the sustainable elements as a risk. And they try to manage these risks through implementing specific programs in each of the 3 bottom lines. So what is our role in sustainability? Or to define it better, how can individuals act upon creating a sustainable culture and an environment within their entities, whether that's a business, it's an initiative. So American Greenest CEO at the time in 1999, Ray Andersen, thought that theft of the children's future is a crime. And he defined theft as the negligence of using resources, whether they're social or environmental. So in his book, Paul Hawkins, The Ecology of Commerce, he defines that the business and the industry is the lead causers of or affecting the biosphere and the environment in general. And the industries are the ones who can take lead into enhancing sustainability. So on that concept, Ray Andersen asked his team, which he worked at the Interface, it's a carpet company, by the way, he asked them to find a way to reduce the environmental impact of producing carpet. So eventually he was able to reduce the CO2 consumption of producing carpet by 80%. Now, regardless of what he did to do that, I want to discuss how he reached that. So I'll revert to Paul Ehrlich's equation of environmental impact. So here, I, impact, is defined as a multiplication of P, A, and T. So population, affluence, and technology. So population is the number that's always increasing. Affluence is the consumption. And T, technology, is the efficiency of the thing you are using. So Ray Andersen thought about this in a different manner. He thought, what if we had P and A, which are factors that we cannot usually control. A is probably the consumption by the users. And he thought, why don't we work on T? Why don't we enhance technology so it's part of the solution, not part of the problem? So in that manner, he was able to take his organization to reduce energy, to reduce CO2 and environmental effect eventually. This is an example of the IPAT equation. We all came here on airplanes. So P, let's say P is the number of airplanes. A is the affluence, the miles flown per passenger or per airplane. And T is the jet fuel consumed by airplanes. So the more miles we flew, the more A. The more people we coming in, the more the P. And T is the efficiency of the aircraft we're using. And this is for an example of environmental impact. So I'll also be introducing IKEA's model of challenging sustainability. So Steve Howard is the Chief Sustainability Officer of IKEA. He saw that people have sustainability issues from all the ranges of economy, profit, economy, planet, and people. So all the way from paying bills to higher sustainability issues like health and other issues. So he believed that the businesses should take this risk and invest into creating this, although at the beginning it's not really profitable for them, but eventually they will reach a status where it is profitable. Another example of someone doing this is Tesla. They're doing a huge gigafactory where they're increasing the production of batteries up to the level where it becomes commercial. So IKEA decided to stop selling the incandescent lights and the CFL lights and decided to create LED. So at that moment, they stopped everything. They started producing LEDs in large scale demands, and they enhanced the supply chain from top to bottom. In that way, they were introducing those lights into the consumer without affecting their final bottom price, which is the profit. I also have examples of companies who did not exactly comply with the sustainability criteria and were fined a huge amount. So this is another example of non-compliance with sustainability that ended up affecting the economic value of a company. One case is British Petroleum's oil spill. It was a huge oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico and resulted in a fine of $42 billion. This allegation was mainly caused by an environmental factor of sustainability, which they weren't prepared to solve the issue, to solve emergencies like the one that happened. Another case is Enron and Arthur Andersen. So Enron was a huge energy company. Arthur Andersen was one of the big 5 auditing companies, along with KPMG, Deloitte, and the rest. So the lack of social and economic procedure caused some money to be funneled one way or another, and that caused eventually Arthur Andersen closing, and Enron filed a 40 billion lawsuit by their shareholders. Volkswagen Group recently was accused by and filed by the EPA for non-compliance of their CO2 emissions. That's also a failure in safe product design. And Apple finally, which in Apple's case, they weren't directly involved in this, but the lack of screening for social workers caused the people at Foxconn, which is Apple production facility, to commit suicide. All of these factors are things that affect the bottom lines of the companies. So generally, I want to give another example now of how these are large companies, but when thinking about it, even small companies could implement these changes. So I founded CarBerry. CarBerry is an on-spot car washing and detailing company where you order for a service to come and wash your car at wherever you'd like. So usually a car wash consumes around 20-30 liters of water. So we were able to introduce a way to wash a car with 1 liter of water. So regardless of the environmental impact, we were able to increase our profits. So environment and profits are connected in this case in that scenario by implementing sustainable thinking in our product design. And for each 1,000 cars that we wash on a yearly basis, we'll be saving around $1 million, 1 million liters. We hope to save $1 million, but yeah. So this was how cars were washed. They looked bigger on my screen, so. But this was how cars are washed, and this is how we are doing it right now. We reduced the environmental impact successfully by doing this. So what I'm trying to conceive here, and to summarize what I'm saying, the thinking in the sustainability fashion can not only apply to environmental and social causes, but could also apply to your way of thinking. It's the concept of thinking from bottom up of all things. So boil all things to its original content and start building up from there to solve the issues. And that's the main issue that I'm trying to conceive to you. So thank you.